Welcome back, kings and queens, to Psychology Every Day. Today we're going to talk about the thinkers and the feelers. Which one are you, and what does that mean? And what are the risks? What do you need to know? So, according to Jung's original typology, which is much better than any sort of modern personality psychology, I promise you, thinking and feelings are sort of functions that we use to make decisions. And they are sort of binary opposites in his original typology, which means that you use probably most of the time one of them. It's like using your hands. And here's the thing, right? If you only use your right hand for everything, this is going to get more and more skilled, and your left hand is going to be to the point where you can't do anything with it. And this is normal, right? Most people can only write with their right hand and can't do it with their left because they keep doing it with their right. I'm ambidextrous, by the way. Um, and the same is true for thinking and feeling, for making sort of value based judgments. So a thinker will override their feelings via rationale and logic. They will make decisions based on some sort of calculation that they have made, and how they feel about it, if they even register how they feel about it, doesn't matter. A feeler will make base their decision making with their heart, while a thinker does it with their brain. And their feelings will override or change their thoughts and rationale about their judgments. For a thinker, hopefully their sort of decision via logic and rationale will change their feelings about it, but not always, which is a huge problem for thinkers. Thinkers operate by the sort of ideas of Greek philosophy. And by the way, since this is Wisdom Wednesday, I have my sort of Shakespearean cup. To be or not to be. Which, of course, is, Stoicism, mindset, having your mental frame be more important to you than the external world. The cons of a thinker or using your thinking ability all the time is that you are dependent upon knowledge and facts which can be false or limited because you don't know everything. No one does. Especially when it comes to the future, because we have very little knowledge and understanding about the future. It is basically impossible to do a proper calculation for most things using logic, math, probability, and stuff like that. But the thinker believes in their core that it is still the most effective and smart thing to do. And in a lot of cases, it is. But they might become locked and inflexible, which means that they will follow through on their plan even when they shouldn't. They also run the risk of alienation, getting so stuck in your sort of head because you're not attached to your feelings that you're unable to appreciate and form proper connections and bonds. Because as we know, thinking takes time, and that means that if you if you're always thinking about things, then you will always be a little bit late on every joke, on every sort of creative moment. You will not be good at improv because you have to process everything through your sort of brain before you let it out. Now, the feeler that uses their heart, their feeling function, will bend rationale and logic to try and get sort of the way they feel about things to fit reality, which is quite short sighted, and it might make them feel very bad in the long run. An example is, imagine you're choosing a school that you're going to go to. One school is very nice, very beautiful buildings, nice people, all of your friends go there, but it's not as good as the second one for your resume. The second school is absolutely amazing for your resume, but it's going to be 4 years or five of boredom. No one likes you there. The buildings are ugly. The courses are boring, but on paper, it's just infinitely better for you and your future. If you are to choose a spouse, imagine that you have one person that fits all of your sort of check boxes on your list. Whether it's how they look or how, what job they have, what family they have, where they live, and so forth. But you're bored with them. You don't find them funny. And yeah, then you have the other person that is just a complete wreck, a loser, maybe even addicted to substances, in depth. But whenever you hang out, you absolutely have the time of your life. You're laughing, ah, ha, 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 but in that way that you almost can't catch your breath. And being with them feels like just the most amazing experience in your life. If you are a feeler, you will choose the second person. And the pros of being a feeler is that you are more in a flow state. You are more relaxed, you are more present, quicker to adapt. You're more of a pathfinder because you are, like I said, flexible, able to change your mind based on how you feel. If you imagine the thinking function as a compass and the feeling function as a temperature gauge, then it's not hard to realize that your body is actually a temperature gauge. So if you move based on hot and cold, it's very quick and flexible. The compass, of course, if you're trying to find your way in a forest, is much more effective. But it also, it's sort of unnatural. And if you follow it, even though you see a bear in front of you without changing your mind because I gotta follow the compass, then you're going to be in trouble. And that is one of the sort of shadow things with thinking, that you might make a plan that will lead you into a life based on the knowledge, facts, and wisdom of others, which is basically all of it that has been presented to you. So you might take a career path, but then halfway realize that I don't want to do this actually. It's just because my parents told me. But then you don't change it. And instead of becoming a guitar player, you become a lawyer and you're miserable. The cons of being a feeler is, of course, the opposite in that way that it's short sighted. They don't really care about the future because that involves thinking. They just go by what makes them feel good most of the time, and anyone knows. Anyone that understands sort of sins, the broad way versus the narrow way, knows that this is not good in the long run. Karma doesn't like feelers, unfortunately. In some ways, because you also have the sort of natural order which the feeler more tap into. If you believe in manifestation and that everything is going to be okay, then being a feeler is much better. The shadow work that each sort of type has to do is very simple. The next time you make a decision, if you are a thinker, ask yourself and actually weigh in on this sort of response that you get. How do I feel about it? And then try to listen and get in touch with your feelings. Simple, right? It's not so easy that it sounds, actually. And for the feeler, the next time you are to make a decision, try thinking about it. try to apply logic and rationale. Now, for each of you, whether you are one type or another, you don't actually have to follow your sort of shadow function, because it's basically going to be retarded if you've never used it before. But you can practice using it, and after a while, you will sort of get better at it, and then you will become a complete individual with two hands instead of one. Have a fantastic day, everyone. Kings and queens, you're here, you're getting smarter, you're getting wiser, and yeah, have a fantastic day. Thank you for watching. Please comment, like, have a great day.